So I've made it a point in my life to just be that one son that just does everything. Because why not? If you're new to the channel, my name is Mike, and I live and travel from my self-converted camper van. And today I'll be telling you guys about just basically how I've been affording van life. With each and every person, their story is different. My story is gonna look a little bit different from a few other people's stories, but what's good about my story is that it's unique to me. If you're wondering where I'm at, I'm in Florida. There's gonna be 100 people telling you a bunch of different ways that they make money, a bunch of different ways that they have been affording van life. You have, of course, folks who are living off of, say, family money. You have people who are grinding, doing social media content and all these other things. And then you have folks who are just, they have a fairly good paying remote job, or they just don't have a job. They're living off savings. So there's a whole bunch of different ways that van lifers, we've been affording van life. For myself, it looks a little bit different. And so, since we have this topic to talk about, I figured let me use one of the benefits of doing van life. Let's use this environment so I can talk about how I make cash on the road. So before I just talk a little bit about like making money on the road, if you have any questions on how I ended up doing van life or how I ended up living and traveling just in general, feel free to check out one of my previous videos that I did not too long ago, just talking about why I chose to do van life. It should give you a full scope and full understanding of why I myself ended up doing van life. And I feel like there's a few parallels between my story and a bunch of other people's story. A few being just, the want for freedom and want to explore. So if you want to jump back just a little bit and check that out, feel free to do so, and then come back over here and join us on this video. But so the ways that I make money are interesting to me because, for one, I didn't come into doing van life with a plan. I came into doing van life with just I want to give it a shot of being able to travel and live just about anywhere, honestly. Like, I wanted to be a quote nomad. And so I have a sister of mine who is a digital nomad and has been a digital nomad for a while. And I was like, okay, she's doing it, it's a thing. And that sister of mine, she's one for doing a lot of research. I'm not. So I was just like, well, okay, she did it, she could do it. I could probably figure it out too. And I didn't really, ask her how she prepared to be a digital nomad, because her path to being a digital nomad was interesting and unique to her. So I was like, well, shoot, it doesn't need to be that complicated, doesn't need to be that intricate, but of course, stepping out on faith like that isn't for everyone. So quick disclaimer, I stepped out on faith. I had nothing lined up in terms of income, where I'm going to be working, what I'm going to be doing, my next steps. I had nothing lined up. I was just like, shoot, let's do it. I've never heard such an angry squirrel. So where did that leave me, right? So before I knew it, I was buying a van and getting ready to live out of it, right? So I bought a 2016 Ford Transit off of Facebook Marketplace for around 17 grand, I believe it was, 16.5, 17 grand, around there. And I was like, all right, let's do it. Built out the van. And then I was working a full-time job at the time. And so while working full-time and having, of course, this van build going, I was, of course, needing to spend money on the build. And the first phase of my van life journey was just funded from savings, right? So once I quit that full-time job, I had all these hours just accrued from working, right? I essentially was that one worker who showed up to work, didn't take any vacation. That was me. I took no vacation time. And so I had like 100 and something hours of vacation time just accrued at my normal salary rate. And I was making pretty good money because I was in tech. So I'm not gonna do all the numbers, but so I had some money saved up. Also, while working my my full-time job, I used to buy and sell motorcycles in college. And so I kind of brought that business with me to my career. Since I had access to more money and time, I was able to buy and sell more motorcycles. Real quick, breaking the story. I'm sorry. Younger me is always going to have to do this. The inner Mike. And I'm doing this in slippers and a rainy climate. So if I fall, you didn't see anything. If I don't fall, you've seen it all. Here we go. Still got it, baby. I basically started off my van life process with working from savings. I had money saved up, And I was like, okay, well, this is something that I want to do. And so how am I going to do this? Well, I have X amount of time. If I budget properly, I have, say, 3 months, right? If I have this amount of money. And so it looked a little bit differently when it started, because since I was coming from savings, and one thing that I had learned from my family was, you know, you want to put aside some money for a rainy day fund, and my rainy days would look a lot cheaper doing van life than it would in an apartment. So I had a big gap compared to what I was expecting. And so with having that gap, it gave me more freedom, time, and I guess you could say just less responsibility with trying to figure out how I'm going to be making money. So I had a good 6-month window of time between the budget that I set aside and when I need to really start making money. And that was assuming that I kept my expenses low. So once I quit my job, I still had a few motorcycles that were left, and I was like, okay, let me put these into storage. And so I did that. I put them into storage. I had left them in a storage unit in Arizona, and I was like, all right, well, when I get back from this mini road trip that I'm going to do, I'll work on these bikes. And so what did I do after I came back from a little mini road trip? I worked on those bikes. Buying and selling motorcycles is great because if you have a low overhead cost of, say, if I bought a motorcycle at $1,000 and I sold it at $4,000, I just made myself $3,000, possibly $2,500, because I'm going to need to buy different parts and things, but depending on what it needs, you can make a large profit. Now, option number 2 is a little bit different in terms of what you do and your skill sets. This is the ADHD, leave me alone. For each of us, our skill sets are different, but one thing the pandemic showed the world really is that you don't need to be in office. You don't need to be physically there to make money. So with that being said, how can you make money remotely? There's a bunch of different ways. So I have a background in tech, so that's one way that I was able to make money. I got a remote job working for CVS Health. I was basically doing some work over there, but the work was pretty demanding for me at the time, and I wasn't healthy enough to be able to do the work, so I stepped away from that role. But that's another thing that you can do, is remote work. So I previously had that remote job, and then I stepped away from it. So the quick recap, so the ways that I have basically been able to afford van life was from savings, buying and selling motorcycles, and then remote work. The biggest of them was, of course, the buying and selling motorcycles, because if I can buy a bike for $1,000, sell it for $4,000, I just made $3,000. And $3,000 goes a long way when your monthly budget is, say, $700 to like $1,000. So it helped me out a lot. But again, with my savings, I kind of burned through my savings pretty quickly because I wasn't traveling slow. I was traveling fast, and then I also went on a whole tour through Europe, all off of my savings essentially, because what I like to do is I like to leverage my credit cards. And so if I have a travel card that's going to give me points to travel, I'll use my credit card on the front end and then pay it off with my actual money on the back. So that's another quick hack that all of us nomads, and really all of us in general, really can leverage is credit. So that's another way that I've been affording van life, is through credit, right? So in the times when I wasn't near my motorcycles or wasn't near a place where I can buy and sell a motorcycle, I would just leverage credit. I was like, okay, well, I know all I need to do is make this amount of money as long as I'm being responsible, right? So let me leverage my credit. I have a pretty good credit score and about 6 different cards, all with different purposes, some with the same purpose. But with that availability, I have, you know, a good amount of credit available. So I don't know many YouTubers who speak about using credit to afford van life. And I can understand why, because it is a bit dangerous. If you're not financially responsible, do not do it. I, for one, can trust my own responsibility in the sense of how much money I spend to use my own credit. So I've leveraged my own credit, right? I didn't want to go as far as spending the cash that I had liquid. So let me spend this credit, use the cash that I have liquid to invest it into something, someone, or a project that can give me a return, such as a motorcycle, or such as cryptocurrency or stocks. And so that leads us to our next thing, is I started to get into stocks. During the past year and some change, I really started getting more involved in the stock market and cryptocurrencies, and I started to make some money, not a lot of money, but some decent money from just my returns there. And it's risky, definitely very, very risky, especially with this current climate that we're in, this economic climate that we're in. You can easily lose all your money. But fortunately for me, I was just being very careful and cautious, so I started making some money. So that's another thing that I was doing, was trading. So savings, remote job, buying and selling motorcycles, and trading. I like to give myself a bunch of different options to make income, because why limit yourself to one or two things? There's a bunch of different ways to make money. So I started getting into trading. Oh gosh, is that rain or is that water from the trees? But yeah, so I made a good amount of cash just jumping around and playing and learning with trading. I wanted to get into day trading, but for that, I can't say that I don't have the time capacity or I don't have the attention capacity. I need a mentor and a coach. So if you do day trading and you want to help me, please do. They driving through here like it is a go-kart track. Quick note, I know we're talking about something serious and something that has your attention, but if you would just give me 1 minute to show you these turkeys that have been walking around here. I know it's so random. Please give me a second, because there's been this turkey, I think it's mating season for them. He's been showing himself out. So there's one right here, and the rest of them are back there. Look at him. Hi, buddy. So as I mentioned, for everyone, their journey or their walk to basically being able to afford van life looks a little bit differently. Mine looks like this, a bunch of different streams, just because I've learned that, I guess you say, wealth or just being able to be financially savvy doesn't come from just, okay, I have my one job. This is my one job, that's it. That's all I'm gonna make my money from. No, for me, that personally doesn't work. And just as a bit of advice, that really wouldn't really help you if anything happens to that one stream of income. So what I wanted to do was build out a bunch of different methods that can give me a return, because ROI, return on investment, is the biggest thing that I can get right now, especially because I'm living and traveling out of my van, which could at any given moment have issues. Now, of course, for everyone it's different, like I mentioned, but for me, these are the things that have worked for me, and I'm looking to expand those because, as I mentioned, I don't want to just be fully reliant on one bucket of income. And slowly but surely, I would like to start making money from social media. I have in the past, but it's been a bit inconsistent as I've been inconsistent. So that's one thing, that's a con with doing social media, is that if you're inconsistent or if you're not producing at a certain quality that's getting, that algorithm to tick, you're not gonna really see a return there. So these are my ways that I make money and how I afford van life. For people looking on the outside, they're like, man, how is this guy in all these different places, da 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 da. Like, to get into this park that I'm at, it was $3. The daily entrance was $3. If you can't afford $3 and you're doing van life, my man, my brother, my sister, you might have some other priorities to consider in terms of income, but $3 right now isn't necessarily gonna break the bank for me. So I was like, yeah, I'd love to come check out this park. And it was raining, but today's shaping up to be a beautiful day. So if you enjoyed that explanation about how I afford van life, appreciate you. Let me know, drop into the comments what little bits that you have questions about, if there's any specific thing that you want me to talk more about, because for one thing, I'm not doing this journey alone. You guys have been with me at every step of the way, and I look forward to sharing and networking with as many of you as possible. So drop something in the comments, let me know. Engagement's one thing, but I really do enjoy talking to you all, because with building out this platform, I realized that, hey, if I can help one person, that's doing a lot for me, and that's doing something for them. So it makes my day, and it keeps a smile on my face. I recently had a Q&A with the SKOOL Group community, and we had one person join in to this Q&A. Now, one person, with talking to them, helping them, and answering their questions, literally brightened my day. So it's something that I really enjoy doing. And if you do want any type of one-on-one interaction, or if you really want to be more in the know on how you can be a nomad, and I'm gonna plug this community because I really do feel that it can change people's lives, honestly, with just the resources that you will have, the support that you will have, and the community that you will have. Jump into the SKOOL community group. There is no shortage of accessibility and resources. I'm looking to interact with as many of you as possible, but jump on into the group, let's talk. But yeah, if you really enjoyed this information, feel free to let me know. And feel free to stick around because, as I mentioned, I'm going to be doing a little bit of jumping around, exploring this park that I'm in. It is beautiful today. And since I'm in Florida, you can imagine the humidity, so I need to get in some water. But before I do that, I think I'm just going to whip up a small little breakfast because it's early and I've been working for the most part of the day. I need to eat. I don't know about y'all. And if you haven't drank some water today, please go do it because you need to drink more water. But yeah, I'll see you guys in a little second. How about I start whipping up some food? Come on with me. What's on the menu today, Chef Mike? Nothing too crazy, man. We're gonna keep it pretty simple. I just bought these bagels this morning and they look ashy. I don't understand it, dude. It definitely is a cheat code to do van life or be a nomad in general just because of the locations you can be in. Like the fact that I'm about to, yes, when I crack my eggs, I put them right back in there. I feel like I've been doing subtle little things that just been pissing some people off. Like when I heated up my cereal I heated up my milk to make some cereal. And if it's been bothering you, there's nothing I can do about it, buddy. Because I'm gonna keep doing it. So, like, when I put the eggshells back in the carton, I really just do it just out of possible laziness. Because it's like, why would I go through the hassle of every single time that I crack an egg, I gotta go find the trash bag to put it to, and I might drip the yolk. I don't feel like dealing with that. But it really is a beautiful day. I'm looking forward to spending some time outside. It's so funny. I've been living and traveling out of my van for over a year now. And yes, I've been in different places, in a whole bunch of places. Places where I could have been, places where I couldn't have been. Oh, funny thing enough, I was stealth camping last night, and I was so very surprised that I got away with it just because of where I was at was so bold. I was in downtown Orlando in a random parking lot under a bridge. Another reason why I didn't film anything about it was because, for one, I wasn't sure it was going to work out, and two, I was way too tired to pick up the camera. One thing that's been so funny to me is that I never really know the line between, like, you're allowed to do this and you're not allowed to do this until I cross it. Like, yes, you can look up regulations, but if there's no rule saying that I can't cook breakfast in my self-converted van or in my van or in my vehicle even, then who's going to stop me? So every now and then when I see, like, the park rangers or any officials at a place where I'm at, and I'm not too sure, I'm just, like, waiting for them to come on over and say something to me because I'm like, I know this might not necessarily be a hard cut, like, area where I shouldn't be doing this, but, like, if it's a gray area, buddy, like, hey, let's you and me make a truce to we gonna stay out of each other's way. But yes, so with everything, I'm big on transparency. I like to show people the behind the scenes, which might possibly be a reason why a lot of folks aren't interested in my type of content because I'm real. So what, dude? Those of you who are here, how's it going? And if those of you who have just first clicked on one of my videos, hey, welcome. We keep it real over here. We keep it honest and straightforward and genuine because in a world full of lies and a world full of things that just don't make any sense, why contribute to that? So I like to keep things pretty straightforward. No, I'm not rich by any means. No, I don't have hundreds of thousands of dollars in savings. No, I don't even have thousands of dollars in savings. I just like to hustle, honestly. Like, if I don't have it, I'm not gonna sit around and wait for someone to give it to me. I recently just dropped a new budgeting worksheet over in the SKOOL Group because, as I mentioned in one of my previous videos, budgeting is so very, very important. And if you're interested in getting your hands on a copy, just let me know in the comments and we'll see what we can do. I'm gonna sit and eat, spend some quiet time with Most High because I'm so very thankful of my life and so very thankful of the things that I've accomplished in this short amount of time that I've been living. And I'll catch up with you guys in a second.